Today's show is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Reduce your ping times and get faster speeds when you game at expressvpn.com/roundup. Welcome to Inside Gaming. I'm Brian. It's weekend roundup time. Bungie is in turmoil after a report last week criticized the culture at the developer. It is yet another story of a video game giant that's got a lot of skeletons in its closet. So let's talk about what happened. This all started on Friday of last week when IGN came out with a story that interviewed 26 people who had accounts of alleged abuse by senior level managers, sexual discrimination, and of course, lots of crunch, aka overworking the out of its employees. Now, the article is well worth a read for a behind the scenes look at how the sausage is made over at Bungie, and it's not pretty. IGN said that the accounts of former and current employees, quote, span overt sexism, boys club culture, crunch, and HR protection of abusers, as well as more complex stories of microaggressions, systemic inequalities, and difficulties in being heard. They specifically focused a lot of the story on the narrative team at Bungie, which it said, quote, experienced toxic leadership, issues with crunch, and at times unmanageable separation between the ideas of old Bungie and new Bungie culture. In one instance, leads of the narrative team for Destiny continued requiring last-minute revisions to the game's stories that, of course, caused more crunch. Now, members of the narrative team asked for help from human resources and the CEO of Bungie, but they got no response until multiple writers either resigned or threatened to quit. Bungie eventually fired the leads responsible for the situation. Also, women interviewed by IGN cited examples of being ignored, saying they were questioned about their abilities to perform their jobs. They also had details of male employees harassing and getting into the personal space of women while also making racist and sexist remarks. And none of the stuff mentioned was quite on the level of the toxic swamp over at Activision Blizzard, but Bungie sure doesn't sound like a great place to work. Almost immediately following the IGN story, the CEO of Bungie, Pete Parsons, apologized publicly, saying, "I want to apologize to anyone who has ever experienced anything less than a safe, fair, and professional working environment at Bungie." He added he wasn't going to refute or challenge the experiences that people shared in the IGN report, but added that we have removed bad actors from our studio without respect to their tenure, seniority, or interpersonal relationships. He went on to say, "We have not always been transparent about what led to their removal or as swift as we should have been, but we will not tolerate toxic behavior from anyone." He also said that over the last 5 years, they've increased the number of employees who identify as women and people from underrepresented communities now at Bungie to 20.5% and 18.6% of the company, respectively. He finished by saying, "I'm heartened by the progress we have made, but it is not enough and it has taken too long. It also does not sweep away the bad experiences people have had at our studio." Now, IGN did note that they have talked to more recent employees who, despite their own hurts, truly believe the studio is slowly but steadily improving. Then on Wednesday of this week, it was reported that Bungie's head of HR stepped down. In an email to staff, Gail DeHunt, who is departing Bungie after 14 years, said she wanted to do, quote, everything in my power to make sure everyone who works here has a safe, welcoming, and supportive environment. She then cited the need for the company's people team to, quote, move forward with membership largely comprised of people new to Bungie. So definitely a split between old Bungie culture, which seemed a little bit more of a free-for-all, to put it nicely, and new Bungie culture. IGN read the email that DeHunt sent to staff. She mentioned that her time at Bungie had included working through, quote, deeply challenging interpersonal conflicts, including termination of employees for, quote, performance, bad behavior, and for discrimination, racism, and sexual harassment. And apparently that included reporting her own abuser, which she described as, quote, a man, an executive, and someone I thought was my friend at Bungie, which resulted in Bungie firing him. So yeah, a lot of turmoil at Bungie. Doesn't seem like it's going to end anytime soon, but the IGN report definitely blew the lid off the situation. All right, we're going to get to the rest of the stories in just a second, but first, guys, let's talk about ExpressVPN a little bit more. You guys have heard me talk about ExpressVPN quite a bit. You know your internet privacy is important. I'm going to level with you. I can say with full confidence that ExpressVPN, best VPN on the market. Here's why. They don't log your activity online. That is super important. Lots lots of cheap or free VPNs make money by selling your data to advertisers, which that defeats the purpose. That's the reason you're hiding your activity in the first place with ExpressVPN. They don't do it. They even developed a technology trusted server that makes their VPN servers incapable of storing any data at all. Plus, it's fast. ExpressVPN uses Lightway, which is a new VPN protocol they engineered to make user speeds faster than ever. ExpressVPN, always super fast. It lets you stream videos in HD quality, no buffering. I love ExpressVPN, again, just to keep your activity private. It's nobody's business, and you definitely don't want them selling it to other people you don't even know about. So protect yourself with the VPN I use and trust. Use my link, expressvpn.com/roundup today, and get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. Visit expressvpn.com/roundup to learn more. On to the rest of the stories. Guys, are you ready for another Bully 2 rumor? I'm always ready. So the long rumored sequel is reportedly back in development. There may even be a playable version of the game already. Now this comes from industry insider Tom Henderson, who tweeted shortly after the Game Awards show, Bully 2 was expected as a potential surprise reveal at the Game Awards last week after some people have been shown some material alluding to a reveal soon. So that's huge. He added, some people saw a playable version just a couple of weeks prior to the Game Awards, not the canned version. Like I said, information is blurry at the moment. Then he added, there's something definitely going on to do with the series. So a lot of smoke to that rumor. Game Informer's associate editor Blake Hester later tweeted the Bully logo and the message, new story coming to you soon. Ooh, even more smoke. But that was later deleted, and Game Informer video editor Alex Van Aken has claimed that was not a reference to Bully 2. Now, Bully 2 has been rumored seemingly forever now. Video Games Chronicle reported that a sequel was in development in the early 2010s, but it fizzled out. They also said that Rockstar co-founder Dan Houser and a team wrote a script for a sequel to Bully. That was back in 2008. That featured a return of Jimmy, the hero of the first game, and the script started at his stepdad's house in the summer, but apparently that script was never finished. But maybe they got something. If there's a playable version, there's definitely something there. All right, a Splinter Cell remake is happening. Finally, Ubisoft announced the news saying that the remake will be developed by lead studio Ubisoft Toronto, which of course made Splinter Cell Blacklist. The remake will be built from scratch using the Snowdrop engine. We don't know though if anyone from the original Splinter Cell team is working on this remake. However, in an interview on the Ubisoft site, technical producer Pete Handrenos said the new team does have some veterans from the series. He said there are a lot of vets here, so we're going to have a really good mix of people who have worked on previous Splinter Cell games and new team members who are joining and bringing fresh energy and fresh ideas. Producer Matt West said the new game, quote, kind of has to be a remake as opposed to a remaster. He went on to say, although we're still in the very earliest stages of development, what we're trying to do is make sure the spirit of the early games remains intact in all the ways that gave early Splinter Cell its identity. And as you can gather from the quote, it's in the early stages, no release date yet. What's believed to be the first union of video game workers in North America has formed. That's cool. Staffers at the indie studio Vodio Games formed the union called Vodio Workers United of full-time and contract workers. Polygon reports the developer pretty small, about 13 employees and contract workers who work remotely. Game director Chris Floyd told Polygon that workers were focused on creating fair conditions at the studio as well as being an example to workers at other developers. He told Polygon, we're looking at the wider industry and all of us are aware of how necessary these kinds of steps are for our industry. Looking around, that's just really obvious. The union was voluntarily recognized by management, which tweeted out a statement from founder Asher Ballmer, who said it was a no-brainer to step back and proudly watch them do what no other game company in North America has. Cool guy manager. He said that his company has been a proud pro-worker studio from its very inception, adding, we are a small young company and I constantly encourage my co-workers to speak up and tell us how we can do better. This is what good management looks like. Unionization, of course, has been a big topic in recent years across the industry. We're starting to see organizing at Activision Blizzard, where there's been a series of work stoppages, and there's been subsequent attempts by management at Activision Blizzard to argue that they can improve the culture there without a union. Yeah. Well, moving on. NFTs are all the rage these days, and renowned game designer Peter Molyneux's next game has already sold a bunch of them. The game in question from the studio 22 Cans is called Legacy, and it's described as a blockchain business simulator. It's a town management game, and of course it has its own cryptocurrency. They held an auction recently for virtual land in the game. They ended up selling about 40 million pounds worth of NFTs. Not wait, the money, that's more than $52 million in American money. According to a blog by the blockchain game company Gala Games, which is working with Molyneux's studio, Legacy will be out next year. They describe it as a creative entrepreneur's dream come true, an opportunity for players to build their very own business, designing their very own products from a huge array of possibilities as they create a business empire the likes of which the world has never seen. Yeah, and they probably never will see it. Molyneux's studio 22 Cans has a spotty track record of releases, to put it nicely. Its first game, Goddess, raised nearly $700,000 on Kickstarter. It came out in early access in 2013 and is still in early access, hasn't had an update in 5 years. They also made a mobile microtransaction fest called The Trail. So good luck everybody on this new venture. All right, time for a 5-second review. I forgot if I reviewed this game previously or not, but I just beat it on my stream, so I had to tell somebody, aside from the 10 people who watched it on my stream. All right, let's get to the games coming out next week. Not a lot of them, just 2. First up, Lacuna, a murder, a hack, a bombing. All it takes to plunge the solar system into war unless you do something about it. Help CDI agent Neil Conrad make a string of increasingly difficult decisions in this modern dialogue-driven adventure set in a gorgeous 2D sci-fi noir universe. Comes to PS4 and Xbox One December 21st. Scarf is an atmospheric and emotional journey about what it means to be a hero. An adventure game mixing puzzles and 3D platforms, explore beautifully crafted worlds, and discover your true destiny with the help of a dragon-shaped scarf. I love video games so much. It comes to PC and Stadia December 23rd. That's all the news we got for this week, you guys. I hope you're having a great weekend. We will see you soon.